Join discord.gg/flat earth and enter a VC check-in room, and someone will come along to VC verify you to get involved with the conversation about our earth.
Enemy spotted.
Kosho.
Do you know what a straw
We're
man
not
is?
even. Yes, I do know what a straw man is.
A straw man would be if I took your argument and I changed it and said this is what I'm arguing against.
Yes, that's what
I'm
you
not
did.
doing that. I'm
Yeah,
taking
you
your
did.
argument, which is that the equator encircles the pole. That's it. That's not a straw man. If I only use that part of your argument, that's not a straw man.
It is a straw man. You're saying that we are we're measuring that it would have to measure greater if it was flat, the equator. It works on both. So if you're going to create an argument for us that says that we say something other than that, then yes, it's a straw man.
Good point. Good. All right. So measuring angles to lights in the sky, man. Guaranteed what I live on, without a doubt. Works on both.
It's so much easier. It's so much easier to create the opposing argument yourself and defeat that you created than the actual argument that's, put forth, and the evidence that we need to acquire to believe your whole paradigm is lacking. That's not on us to prove. That's on you to prove.
Yeah. Be great if you could get those TPS reports. That'd be great.
Sorry, I'm talking to somebody else.
I'm just messing with you, Kosho.
That's fine.
Kosho.
So just hold on, real quickly. I'm just trying to pick up where I left off.
Before you, what have you been drinking today, man? I gotta know.
I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Right. Yeah. So it's not a straw man if I'm using something that you're saying, and then I'm going from there. That's not a straw man. A straw man would be if I'm changing it and then saying that's
you are changing it.
Yeah, I'm not changing.
Oh, here we go.
The circle, the equator encompasses the North Pole. That's not a straw man.
You are straw manning the flat Earth by saying that it would have to be greater if the Earth were flat. If the Earth is flat, whatever follows is a straw man.
No, I didn't. I'm not saying if the Earth is flat. Anything. I'm telling you that a circle encompassing a point on a plane there's a geometric identity for that. You can describe how everything on that behaves. It's not that's not a straw man because that's not your argument. I'm just telling you this is reality. Okay,
so you're saying that the equator isn't derived from elevation angles to Polaris.
There's plenty of ways to derive it.
I'm asking a direct question.
I'm not talking about how it's derived. The answer is no.
It's a yes or no question. So you're saying that the equator isn't derived from elevation angles to Polaris.
Saying that either. I'm not saying anything about that.
Okay. So you're just not taking a stance either way.
I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about the fact that it's a circle. That's fine. I'm not. I'm talking about the fact that it's a circle.
That's what we're saying.
Pole. Yeah, I know. That's what you're saying. So that's not a straw man because you are agreeing that you're saying that. That's all I'm saying.
You are creating a straw man by saying that it would be a greater circle from Polaris with elevation angles.
Please. Mask and knife.
That's not. Will somebody else break this down for us? It's not a straw man if I'm using what you're saying and then describing how that would work. That's not a straw man.
Okay, so
we're both agreeing that what you're saying is that it's a circle.
So you're not inflating the radius of the circle of the equator for the flat Earth.
No, I'm not inflating anything.
You're not making it greater. You're not making it greater. You're not saying that it would be greater on a flat Earth.
I'm telling you what the relationship would be if it were a flat circle, and what the relationship would be if it was a circle on a sphere.
But you said because of ratios, it would be greater on a flat Earth, right?
Well, the ratio would be 6.2. The ratio would be 6.2 in one case of a flat plane circle, as everybody knows.
Okay, so you're taking
4 as it would be if it was on a sphere.
Okay, so you're taking a straw man of the flat Earth.
Oh my God.
You are.
How is that a straw? Okay, listen. Do you agree? There's no point talking to you. You've already said that
Oh,
you agree
okay.
a circle. You agree a
Okay,
circle. That's not a
sure.
straw
There's
man.
no point in
Exactly.
talking to you,
There's
Kosho.
no fucking point to talk right now, man. That it's ridiculous.
There's no point in talking to
How is it a straw
you.
man?
We'll
How
do
is
it
it a
again
straw man
tomorrow,
if
man.
you're saying those words?
Go over to
You
fucking
are
Cheetos
saying
tomorrow and
something
get busy with it.
else. We are saying that the equator is taken from elevation angles to Polaris. It's at 0 degrees. It's the same on either paradigm, so you can toss that and please provide some substantial evidence for your drop over distance measured curvature. Thank you.
Keep it simple around here, Kosho. You know that.
I thought it was simple. The
It is
relationship
simple,
between
man.
a
Everything's simple,
radius
man.
and a circle. I thought that
You
was simple.
you're
Apparently, it's a
taking
straw
it
man if
and
I assume
conflating
that.
it. You're taking it and conflating it to something that it isn't.
I'm not
We're
conflating it to
telling you
anything.
that it is the same on both.
It's not the same. I went over that earlier. A circle on a
You
basketball and a
didn't.
circle on a flat circle. They're two different relationships.
Okay,
It's
well,
just the
you
way it is.
can't derive the
Just
elevation
show us.
angle
Just
of the
show us.
equator from a basketball.
Get your
Sorry.
get your tools out and show us, man. Make a little video or something, man. Please show it. Just show it, man. Anytime I bring up a claim, I'll fucking show it, man. I say I can build a guitar. Fucking sit your ass down, man. Let's do it. You
Well,
gonna challenge me? Fuck off.
the problem is
I'll
that
do it.
the distances that are required to even come up with the equator at all as a circle are elevation angles to a celestial body. So you're talking about what we consider a celestial
I want you to
sphere
do it
over our heads,
on your kitchen
not
table,
on
man.
the earth, but over our heads.
Big shit, fucking little clip. Fuck that. I want a fucking demonstration. Show demonstration.
Yeah, you can talk about it all day, Kosho,
You know
but
what I
what
mean?
you're saying
It's not a
is not,
demonstration.
yeah, it's not
I could to
actually
demonstrate I
true.
can build you a guitar. I don't just send you pictures of me building a guitar. I can fucking demonstrate it to you right in front of you. Say, hey man, this light, this fucking distance, this radius, it's a ball,
There's no
yeah.
point asking me
He's
for anything.
talking about
Show it.
he's talking
There's no
about
point asking.
1/4. He's talking about 1/4 of this supposed globe. He's taking the distance that's given, which
Just
are
want to see
derived
it
from
man,
elevation angles.
on a fucking
By the way,
whiteboard.
uh,
Oh,
just still derived from elevation angles. He's taking that 1/4 of a distance and saying that it doesn't match by ratio the flat Earth because he's strawmanning the flat Earth and saying that if you take the other 3/4 of that, it wouldn't be
First of all,
accurate.
I didn't
none of
even get
us
to that
here,
part of
Coach.
the. I didn't even
None
get
of us.
to. I didn't even get to that part of the argument yet. The only part of the argument that I made
Yeah,
up was that
you
if
love
the
to
two
argue,
models,
man.
the two models
It's
of
a
the
sad
Earth
situation.
would have two different ratios. So we don't know. You're right. Let's say we don't know the distances. Let's say that whatever reason you don't know the distances. That's not the problem. That's not the problem.
We know distances, man.
The point that I'm making is that there is certainly a difference between those ratios. So
Point A,
let's say we
point
don't
B.
know the distances, and all we know is that there's two different ratios. Now we can determine which one of those ratios is correct by determining those distances. Why not?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
to say
Well,
to say that it's a straw man, to say it's a straw man because I'm identifying that
it
there would be two
is
different
a
ratios, it's
straw
not a straw
man.
man.
Yes, it is because you're acting like you have all of this information that you don't actually like have in your possession. You're taking an argument from one side that you've created and the other side that you're told, and you're conflating them.
There's no in this statement, the statement I'm about to make, there's not a single straw man. The statement that a circle on a plain piece of paper and the relationship between the circumference and the radius, compared with a sphere or a ball and the circle around the center, and the distance from the center to the top point, these two relationships are different.
Shut
And I
down.
Okay.
identified in the
Okay.
picture that I made. This isn't a straw man I'm making. This is just a geometrical fact.
Okay.
So I don't
Okay.
know how it can be claimed that that's a straw man.
Okay, we'll take what you just said and we'll go with it. And we're going to say that how did you derive those distances to the equator from the North Pole?
Google Maps. Is what I did.
No, no. You derived them from elevation angles to Polaris. So there we are. We're back at elevation angles, and your whole argument is void.
I mean, I don't know what argument you're literally strawmanning me, but saying that I'm strawmanning.
No.
I'm telling you how I got
This
the
is the
distance.
really
I looked
is
on Google
thing.
Maps. I
No.
looked on Google Maps. That's how I got the distance. I didn't go to the equator and measure elevation angles.
It said Google
So-
Maps.
Google
didn't it?
Maps is derived still with the latitude lines that you get from elevation angles to Polaris, Kosho. We're still right back at this point that you are not going to be able to refute.
The latitude lines aren't identified by elevation angles to Polaris because you would
Yes,
use the
they
wrong
are.
latitude lines.
Okay, then cite that, please. Give us the citation that it's not.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah,
Sure.
of course. Go ahead.
Hey, Kosho's been around this. He's got it all figured out, man. Everybody should follow Kosho. Whatever he says is probably
He's insufferable, is what he is. He just
insufferable. He's the best of the best, and there's no doubt about it that he can look at angles and measurements and stuff and understand
the equator being 0 degrees,
about that, man.
being 0 degrees to the elevation
However,
angle to Polaris on the horizon.
you gotta
That
work
is
on-
what the
you gotta work on
equator is.
You're cool,
the
man, or something. You're a little
It's
too
what it
Freemason
is.
or something.
It doesn't matter what anybody wants to claim. The fact that it is what it is, man. Sorry about your luck. But the equator is derived from elevation angles to Polaris, which requires a flat baseline. Because the GP of the star would be at 0 degrees.
I'm a sailor. I love Polaris. Polaris, I call her my little. Well, she's always there, man. Little Polaris is a little dependable. She's fantastic. I love her. Polaris, thank you. She's a good one, man. She's pretty accurate. Yeah. She's trustworthy.
bad.
I trust
My
the
bad.
old I trust her 100%. Polaris, I trust you. I will give her my sailing salute to Polaris. Whatever that is. That thing's so consistent. I love it, man. Now you can go down.
Well,
You can get
we're
too
talking
far
about
away
a
from it.
whole respawn going on here.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
Everything in due time, man. It's just nothing's easy in life. I figured that one out at least. But things are worth doing, and standing on a spinning globe is not worth doing, man. It's not worth it, man. It's going to be the wrong side of reality. The wrong side of reality. Standing on that globe, man. That's a bitch. It's a bitch to fucking hold up, man. Thing's fucking wobbly, spinny, shoot. It's got a lot of fucking. A flat Earth got nothing going for it, man. It's flat and stationary. How easy is that? It's super easy, bro. It's not like complicated. In fact, all aircraft depend on a flat stationary plane. Shit, it's so crazy easy, man. But you know,
Yeah, I know that you enjoy.
Here's my citation.
I know you
Here's
enjoy
today.
like a. I know you enjoy like a laid back kind of funny, late night. Sorry about that, flat Earth professor dude.
oh, you guys go into this right there, man. He's got numbers on a piece of paper that's going to destroy the fucking flat Earth. Go ahead.
Oh snap!
Well,
Let's do it.
you're paying attention. You're paying attention. So you remember what was just said then. But she asked me to get a citation to show that the equator is established by
This isn't a citation, by the way.
looking at Polaris and
This isn't a citation.
identifying where it's at.
Do you know what a
0 degrees plus
citation
horizon.
is?
Right. So this is the nautical almanac. This has the elevation of Polaris.
Where's the
This has the GP of
citation?
Polaris. This is a GP of Polaris. It's not at the North Pole. It's almost a degree away from the North Pole. If you use Polaris to identify the equator, you're going to
Doesn't
be
even know
off
what a
by almost a
citation
degree.
is.
You'd be off by how many degrees?
Almost a whole degree.
1 degree.
Almost.
So Polaris is not the north?
No, Polaris is not at the North Pole, no.
Okay, so how do you get it? So you're saying true north, magnetic north, which one?
True geometric north.
Okay, where's that?
Geographic north. That's just a little bit north of the North Pole. I mean, north of the GP of Polaris.
Why's that?
Why is that? Because Polaris makes a circle in a day. It makes a circle almost a degree away from the center point. So the circle that it's making is, like I said, it's 8/10 of a degree away from the pole.
So how did sailors use Polaris in the olden days and get where they had to go?
Because it will give you a pretty good idea of which direction north is. That's reasonable. You can't use it to say that that's the north. That's the North Celestial Pole. That's why in the almanac they don't say that it's the North Celestial Pole. They put it at its actual GP because if you use it this way, you can actually get to where you're going.
So you can
And how do you?
navigate using. So you can navigate using Polaris.
Yeah, this is from the celestial the nautical almanac.
So I don't even know what you're getting at then. So if you can navigate using Polaris, then you navigate using Polaris.
Yeah. Well, along with the other stars in that
doesn't
list.
make the Earth a globe.
If
I
you
never
use
said
the
it
other
did.
stars, it's always their relation to Polaris.
No, that's not true either. No. Each of these positions just identifies where the GP is or where it is in the celestial sphere. And
So if you use
identify where the GP is.
so if you use another celestial object in the sky at nighttime, you're not using them in relation to Polaris.
Yeah, you don't have to use Polaris. You can use any three stars.
But you're not using those 3 stars in relation to the center point.
No, you're just using them in relationship to the celestial sphere, and then
Okay, all right.
Earth.
I'm so glad that you made the claim that you're not using them in relation to Polaris, because all of those that you would be using would be in relation to the center point, which is Polaris.
But this right here says that Polaris is not at the center point. If it was at the center point, it would say 90.
All of the stars that you would use to navigate at night would be in relation to the center point, which is Polaris.
Not in relation. All there is, there's a grid. There's a spherical grid that all the stars are placed on. That's it. They're just placed on that spherical grid.
Yeah, but they're in relation to the center point, right?
They're just in relationship to where
to
they would
the
be
center.
on that grid.
Are we gonna prove the Earth's flat or a globe by doing this?
No.
Yes. Could if you wanted to. I mean,
yes, because it requires a flat baseline to get the elevation angles of these celestial objects in the sky. Yes.
The funny thing is that the spherical, what do you call it? The celestial sphere that all these stars are mapped on, they have a 1-for-1 position with the surface of the Earth. I don't know why it's being overlooked, but it's crazy to think that this is evidence for a flat plane when it's clearly using the fact that the Earth is a sphere to do this.
No, it's using the celestial sphere of your perception.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it does. Because when you're using a center point like Polaris, everything would be based off of that center point. No matter what relation, whatever 3 stars you wanted to use, you're using those 3 in relation to the center point, which is Polaris.
I don't know why you keep saying that in relationship to
Because it's the truth.
They're not in relationship to anything except the celestial sphere. Like they're just points on the celestial sphere. That's it. They're just different locations on the celestial sphere, different coordinates. I mean, on the celestial sphere. Polaris happens to be close to the
Timbo.
top point, but it's not exactly there.
Oh,
Timbo, you ever build a house like, from the ground up?
well, I've never built a house using the celestial sphere.
No. Do you find let me ask you, do you find a center point when you build a house? Like on a lot? No?
No, boundary marker.
Boundaries usually?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a level. We get a
A
level.
level.
Yeah, and that's where we start our foundations from the datum point on the footpath. And
Okay.
that's a point that's measured from sea level.
Right.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? And that sea level is actually the same sea level all over Australia. Who would have
No.
thought? Yeah, it's serious, man.
That's like trillions and trillions of miles away.
2 light years.
2 light years. Not even 2, man.
In the U.S., we have at least 2 different sea levels.
Pacific and Atlantic? Or Gulf and Atlantic?
At least
What's the height difference?
I think almost. I think it's
2 meters?
18 centimeters. 18 centimeters.
18 centimeters? Yeah, whatever.
Could be
That's
wrong.
hilarious. I went 2 meters, man, just to be funny. You went 18 centimeters. That's pretty funny.
Could they be a different sea level because high and low tide happen at different times?
There's a lot of reasons. They're separated by a lot of
a lot of land.
Geography.
Yeah.
Land, wind, waves. Somebody taking too many shits and dumping it into the Pacific Ocean. Whatever.
The moon.
I mean, there's a lot of shit goes into the Pacific Ocean. I'll just say that, man. Damn. I've seen the treatment plants before they dump it off into the ocean. They kind of clean it up pretty good. Pretty good.
I've
Anyway.
been to visit one of ours. It comes out clean as fuck, man.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty clean, but
Mm.
yeah, I'd like to test it. But they say it's
Yeah, I'm
good.
sure it's got stuff in it that you can't get rid of, like antibiotics and stuff like that. So
Yeah, there's some weird stuff in the human waste
yeah,
process of getting rid of
drugs.
drugs in the poop and piss and the drugs in the piss, and yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in the water that goes into the ocean.
Yeah, some of that you just cannot get through rid of with even through
Exactly.
filtration.
It would
You have
be.
to do that. Yeah, you got to you got to distill that shit, man.
It's the only way to really do it. Yeah, proper.
But that water, we don't recycle that water. That just goes straight into the creeks and out into the ocean. Oh, actually, no. Now we do recycle it. We have a second water line that it's purple, and it's called recycled water. Do not drink.
Right. We call that
And
here. It's called reclaimed water here where I
Mm.
live.
and it's
Reclaimed.
just for gardens and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You just water the plants that you're gonna eat.
Actually, and now they put a washing machine with that with the recycled water too, so you can wash your clothes with it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh shit.
So you're washing your clothes. Your clothes are full of antibiotics now.
Oh man, that needs a whole another discussion right there, man. Damn, that's interesting. Trigger, look, got a little triggered on that one. So anyway, the point was Timbo builds things and he's gonna level stuff and square stuff and get a boundary and
Yeah, I use
can we,
triangles
can
to
we,
square things.
can we find the center of anything, man? Yeah, I think we can, man. I think we got a lot of methods we could do that. Whether it's a ball or a square or triangle, there's a center
Hmm.
point. All
I
that
use
shit.
triangles every day
Yeah,
to get
I love.
to make things square.
Yep, my
But
I have a I have got a quick square they call it, man, for construction.
yeah,
Yep, speed square. You know, quick,
the slidey one or the one with the hook on.
just a regular one, man. Just you
Yeah,
know, it's so good
we just
handy.
use this method 3-4-5. So if you
Yeah,
measure 3 meters along one wall, 4 meters along the other, and then you get 5 meters between those 2 points, then
yep.
your two walls are square. So you got
Three,
to
four,
keep on
five.
adjusting it until you get the 5 meters in the on the hypotenuse, and then the building square.
3, 4, 5, baby. Works every
Three,
time, right?
four, five,
And
every
and we,
single time.
dude, that's the angles to Polaris. 3, 4, 5, man. Bitches. Fuck off, man. It's so easy. You know, that's all he did, man. You just gotta, it's like suck it up and say, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I could do it right here in my fucking front yard. Yeah, 3, 4, 5. It. Where we going? Anyway,
Happy Meal, are you there? Grimace.
shout out to Andrew. He's hanging out.
I'm sure.
Um, Larry's building his computer. Lou's probably sleeping. P-Mac. Oh shit, we're in trouble. Heretic's still hanging. Grass. Punk's still here. Nice. Happy Meal. You there? No. Elijah's here.
This
Yeah,
is Andrew. Yeah, I'm still here.
we got a full crew in here tonight, man. You guys tear it up, man.
So
Uh, angles to 3, 4, 5 to make it square, man. You like that?
So,
Anybody?
so Punk, what do you think, Venusian Punk? What do you think about that conversation that was happening before?
I wasn't really listening all to.
I was playing my game, man. Take it easy up.
Do you know how to get an elevation angle off a curved surface?
I have no idea.
Good answer, because none of us do. So that was the correct answer.
I do. You don't use the surface. And if you need to use the surface, correct for the difference between the surface and your horizontal. That's simple.
That was your cue, Kosho. That was your cue, man.
Well, I mean, you said nobody in here knows. I mean, it's fairly simple.
You
don't
know.
use the surface, and if
you
you need to use the
know.
surface, just correct for the difference between the elevation, maybe between the dip angle of the horizon and the
Dude,
horizontal.
you got an air conditioner on or a fan or what the hell is with your microphone, man? Can't hear you.
Yeah, as a fan, yeah.
Fan. Okay.
Learn you?
I can hear the fan more than I can hear you. That's the problem.
Okay, no problem with that. I'll turn it down though if it makes it feels better.
Yeah, or turn it away or turn it down or something.
So where do you do this elevation angle on a curved surface, Kosho?
As I said, you might try by not using the surface. That would help. But if you need to use the surface because that's just how you'd like to do it, then simply correct for the difference between the horizon and the actual horizontal, your eye level. Just correct for that. That'll be some angle measurement. Take that out of your angle measurement, and there you go. Either way,
Correct.
what you want,
What are
you
you
want,
correct?
you want to.
What are you
Say again?
correcting to?
Well, what you want to use is you want to use a horizontal line. You want to establish a horizontal baseline, and you want to measure the angle from that to the object in the sky. So if you can just use a
So you're using
horizontal,
a flat plane then?
no, you're not using any planes. You're just using the your sextant to either be perfectly horizontal to start with. If you can't do that, then you can try using the horizon, but you need to correct for how much lower the horizon is than the actual horizontal.
And how much lower is the horizon?
There's a dip angle calculation. I don't have it on top of my head, but it's dip angle correction. Just plug that in.
What if you just don't correct and just shoot it over a flat plane? Would you get the same angle?
If you shoot it over a flat plane, I mean, you'd have to get to a flat plane, I suppose. But if you're talking about
It's
just
right in front of
do it
you.
on Earth.
So if
Yeah,
you
if you do
just
it on
point
Earth,
at the horizon, are you going to get the same angle as if you correct for dip angle?
if you point, well, you are pointing at the horizon. So you're pointing at the horizon, but if you
Yeah.
don't correct for the dip angle, then no, you're not going to get the same answer because in one case,
What's going to be
you're
the
changing the. Yeah,
what
it's
will
going to
be the
be
difference in the angle?
it'll be the dip angle. So the difference between the angle that you measure at the horizon and your elevation angle of the star, the difference between that and measuring it from horizontal in the star is going to be the dip angle, which is why you calculate the dip angle and you
Have you got
subtract it from your result.
Have you got a theory? Have you got a method for the calculating the dip angle?
Yeah, there's a formula. I just don't have it on top of my head, but yeah, I can pull it.
So what if you're on the surface, like standing on a beach at sea level, and you point it at the horizon and it's level? Are you going to get the same angle if you correct for dip angle because there's no dip angle because you're pointing at the horizon?
Well, there will be a dip angle, but it will be incredibly small. And you wouldn't need you could get away with not using it in that case because it's not gonna change your answer very much.
At sea level, if you are on a flat plane, you'd have the same angle using a sextant, or if you're on a curved surface, you wouldn't need to correct for dip angle. So why are you using this? Well, you wouldn't need
If
to
you're at sea
correct, would
level,
you?
yeah, if you're at
Yeah.
sea level, there's going to be a difference, and if you don't use that difference, you're going to get an answer that's not exactly correct, but it's going to be pretty
What's
close.
the
So you can probably
difference?
get away with not correcting for it. At sea level, 6 feet. On top of my head, I don't know. It's like
Sea
a
level's
very
not
small
six
part of an
feet.
angle.
I'm talking about sea level.
Sea level, you're taking the measurement from the surface of the water.
Yep.
Where the sextant is, and that's what your face is. Yeah,
Yep.
if you're doing that, then
flat.
then yeah, you're fine. You're fine not correcting for it. Yeah, but then you're
Welcome
not
to
really gonna
flat
have
Earth.
a horizon though. You're not gonna have a horizon. I don't understand what you're saying. If your eyes at the sea level,
Where's your
It
horizon
doesn't
though?
curve over
Anyway,
the sea. It
is
only
your
curves over land.
is your horizon at 1.22 miles, or is your horizon move around? So is your horizon always going to be in the same place? Then your
that's
calculation won't work.
that's 1 foot. That's 1 foot above sea level. That's that
Okay,
far.
let's do it at 1 foot. Great.
Sure. You're still gonna have a dip angle then at that in that case.
And how much is that going to be, Kosho?
On top of my head, I don't know. I can figure
Hey,
it
what's
out.
that dip angle due to?
I mean, I say it's due to the Earth curving away from you, but
So then the horizon must be geometric and must be at 1.2 miles for 1 foot observer.
you're referring to the geometric horizon, which isn't
Well, that would be a
necessarily.
consequence of the curvature that you're saying this horizon dip is also a consequence of. So it should all go hand in
Absolutely.
hand.
Yeah, but you're saying that as if the visual horizon, the one that you see, is not geometric. They're both geometric. It's just one is also fractions applied to it.
Okay, so you don't see the geometric one that you say you see a dip angle to.
Well, you're saying you don't see it, but it's not that you don't see it. It's that it's not describing what you see. It's describing
Okay,
what
if
the
that's
Earth
what
is
you
doing,
see,
and then
okay, what you see isn't describing what's actually there, right? Then
yeah, that's the
what
horizon.
about the dip angle that you see?
Yeah, the dip angle is the dip. I don't understand what you're asking. The dip angle.
So the dip angle is a
the angular
consequence
dip.
of the horizon's geometry that you don't see.
Right.
But you
I
see the
do
dip
see
angles,
it.
so what's going on here?
You guys, what's wrong with you guys tonight? Listen to what I'm saying. You're
Is
saying
it me
that.
or
I'm
him?
correcting you. No, you're saying something. I'm correcting you, and then you're saying again what you said. I'm telling you, the horizon, the visual horizon, is a product of the geometric horizon, which is not a thing that is describing what you see. It's a thing that's describing the mathematical. It's basically a tangent from your eye to the point that intersects the Earth, that touches the Earth. That tangent line, right? That point where that tangent line meets the Earth, that's your geometric horizon. But
How do you know that?
because that's not what you see, though. You see
Right.
that line refracted. That's not a description of what you see. It's
So
not that
how
you
do you
don't
know
see
it's
that. It's just not a description of what you see
how do you know it's there since you don't see it?
because what you see is there. If you see something refracted,
But you
yeah,
don't see what you say is there.
yeah. If there's a position of an anchor in the water, right? You see the refracted position of the anchor, right? You don't. That doesn't mean that there's not a position of the anchor. It's just that's not what you see. You see a refracted position of the anchor because that's what you're going to see. You're going to see what you see is subject to refraction,
So
and
you're
that
saying
term
what's there
geometric
isn't what
horizon.
we see.
Oh my god,
That's not really a very good argument for what's there, though.
Yeah.
that's not what I said.
It's everyone.
Again, it's
Anyone
not what I
who's
said.
listening to
Pretty much.
this is a glober trying to explain the horizon.
It's not hard to
So
explain.
look, so
There's the
here it
horizon.
is.
There's the horizon, which is subject to refraction. So it's a description of
Oh,
the
okay,
geometric
all right,
horizon after
okay.
refracted.
So I see a 10-mile horizon from a 1-foot observer height, and that's a 1.2-mile horizon that was subject to refraction.
I wouldn't call the horizon 1.2 miles, but I would say that the line
That's
was refracted. The distance was
geometric
refracted.
tangent that you just brought up. That's where
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, but you're no longer describing that. You're describing a refracted line, which is not that same line.
I'm asking you how you know that it's a refracted geometric tangent point.
Well, we know it's refracted because it changes due to refraction. So,
Well, how do you know what it is that's being refracted?
what do you mean? It's what you see
How
is
do you
being
know
refracted.
that it's a 1.2-mile geometric tangent point that's been refracted to look like a 10-mile horizon instead? Like, how would you know that?
Well, you know it's being refracted, so that checks that part off. How do you know that it's supposed to be 1.2 miles away? I mean, I guess you could just make many measurements of the horizon from many different places, many different days, and know that that principle is factual. That when you at any height, you can take the what is it, the square root of your height in feet, and then
That's not
multiply
from
that
looking
by
at the
1.2,
horizon.
and that will give you well, you can get
That's
this
not
by
from
making
looking
these
at the
measurements.
horizon. That's derived from the globe radius. It's not from
Yeah, I know,
looking at the horizon because that's not what we see when we look at it.
you
That's
asked
why
me.
we're having this
That's not what you
conversation.
asked me, though. You asked me how could you get that number. I'm telling you how you could get. You get it by taking many
No,
measurements and deriving that.
not really. I'm not exactly asking you how you get that number. I'm asking you how you know it's a geometric physical tangent point at 1.2 miles that for some reason instead looks like a 10-mile horizon.
Because it matches the this exact math I said and the refraction.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, because it matches the globe math. That's why. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. It matches. Yeah, exactly. It matches what you would predict it to happen. So it's okay to assume that that's what's happening. I guess.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
knew
I'll tell
that
you.
was the answer. I was just leading it to that point. Thank
Yeah. I mean, that's how you figure things. That's how you solve problems. Is you make predictions for what it should be doing. You throw in all
you.
the
Circular
throw in
reasoning,
all the
though.
properties, and you see if it's doing that.
In the
It's not
last
doing
5 minutes, you've actually said absolutely nothing.
Okay. Well, I have the equation for you for the dip angle you asked for. It's
Thank
what
you.
is this?
The dip
Yeah,
angle
it's
to the
arc
refracted,
sine.
non-geometric apparent
Yeah,
horizon.
to
That one.
not a physical place. Yeah.
Now this is the equation for the dip angle to
So,
the
so
geometric
is
horizon.
is the d okay? So the dip angle is due to the geometry of the horizon,
Yes.
but you don't see the geometry of the horizon.
It's not what I said, man. Listen,
But no, I'm
you
saying
guys,
I'm
no,
asking
listen,
if you
listen,
see
dude.
it. I'm
I know,
asking you
but
if you see
listen,
it.
you need to stop doing that, dude, because the geometric horizon is a term that's used to describe a specific thing. That doesn't mean
Okay.
that the other horizon is not geometric. The geometric horizon is just a name for the horizon as it pertains to the tangent line from the observer to the Earth.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The thing you don't see, which you say the dip angle is a consequence of.
Yeah, well, of course, that's not what you see. What you see is the
Well,
actual horizon.
If you don't see it, then how can the dip angle be a consequence of it? You see the dip angle, don't you?
I'm giving him the geometric dip angle. The equation for the
why?
refracted dip angle would have to include the refractive index. So
Well, that's
there
not what
is-
we're looking at, though. We don't see that. That's just in the mathematics, like you said. The one that you're actually looking at and getting a dip angle to is the apparent refracted one, not the 1.2 blah 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 one.
All right. So if you want to figure out how far the dip angle that you're going to see is, and the refracted dip angle, it turns out the difference is negligible. So all you need to do in celestial navigation is use a shorthand, which doesn't involve doing all this math, and their dip angle, as it applies to celestial navigation, just uses.
Why does the horizon go from 1.22 to 10 miles? Is that negligible?
Because of the refraction at for the observation you're talking about. That's, I mean, I don't know.
So apparent or geometric. Okay, so apparent or geometric horizon, the dip angle, the difference in dip angle between either is negligible.
No.
Well, isn't that's not what you just said?
No. So if you're talking about from the black swan measurement, for example, with this like refraction that's not what you would be measuring on the surface of a ship, no, you wouldn't expect that the dip angle for the geometric horizon and the the observed horizon to be very different. Although you don't use either of those, you don't use either of those to make that that prediction. I'm giving him the equation for the geometric horizon because that's the formula.
Yeah, but you just said the difference in dip angle between that, which we don't see, and the apparent one, which we do see, is negligible.
Oh, well, that one wouldn't be. Like if you have extreme refraction, you're going to have extreme differences. But
so the black swan dip angle would be much different. You're saying?
No, it wouldn't be very different, but it would be not zero, which you would expect it to be close to zero. Like you would, if you were predicting what it would be, you'd predict something very close to zero, and because of the refraction that you're receiving there, you might be an actual measurable amount.
According to you, I'm not really hearing any practical difference between globe and flat here.
I mean, there is one. I mean, when you do celestial navigation, you have to measure the dip angle. You have to predict the dip angle, and you have to use refraction to do that. So, on the flat plane,
how much refraction?
The dip angle would be based on wherever the edge of the flat plane was. If there wasn't an edge to the flat plane, there wouldn't be a dip angle.
I don't think that's true. The horizon isn't in the same plane as the observer's eye level, unless the observer is, I guess, exactly at sea level.
Well, if it was a flat plane that went on forever, why would there be a dip angle?
Because of what I just said.
Yeah, but
so you're of the mind that there shouldn't be a dip angle if it's just a flat plane.
That had an infinite distance. I mean, the distance goes on forever.
Yeah, but nobody's saying that. And
I know, but that's what I was just saying. It would depend on where the edge of the flat plane was. That's right. That's what I just said. I'm not claiming that you're saying that it's infinite. I'm saying it would depend on however big that is. It wouldn't depend on geometry that matches a globe. It would depend on however big you think the flat plane is.
An observer 6 feet above sea level, eye height, let's say 6 feet, is that in the same plane as the horizon?
Like on a globe? Or
no.
On a flat plane?
No. Let's go with the definition of horizontal, which is parallel to the plane of the horizon, which then tells us that the horizon itself is a horizontal plane.
That's not... Okay, so if you can measure a dip to the horizon, that means that the horizon is not horizontal.
Okay, I'm going to word this more simply then. Is your eye level above the ground?
Yeah.
Well, then why shouldn't there be a dip to the horizon? It's the apparent meeting point of surface and sky, right? The surface is below your eye level.
Yeah, but that would depend on the length of that plane. So if the plane went on forever, then no, there would not be a dip. If the plane had an ending, then it would depend on where that ending was, and yeah, you would have them.
Okay, so you're saying that the dip angles that we see, those shouldn't be there if the surface is just flat and planar.
Yeah, that's true.
Got a measurement of curvature to substantiate that with.
I mean, there's plenty of measurements of curvature, but it depends on what you'd accept. I mean, I have one that measures a bridge in Louisiana to match the curve of the Earth.
That's a measurement of a bridge. I said curvature. The
Yeah,
thing
the
that you
bridge.
say that the dip angle arises from, even though we don't actually see that geometry, also according to you.
The bridge is equal elevation above the water, and the water follows the earth. It's level, just like you guys say. So the bridge is level, the water's level, and the bridge matches the curve of the earth.
What curve was that measured?
Yes, I just described it.
All right, let's see the
Like you
measurement
said,
of
bridge
that.
measure.
Why give us something derivative like, oh, here's a measurement of a curved bridge, which we say matches the curvature of the thing that we're trying to prove? Just shows that. Just shows the curvature of the Earth
Because
itself.
if you try to do it on the earth, you would have to make sure the earth was level. In order to do that, you want to make sure you would use a fluid like water.
You're
In
just
this
talking
case, I'm
nonsense,
using
dude.
water. Yeah, I mean, you guys claim that you have to use water to measure if it's level or not. And if I use water, you guys go,
Yeah,
oh, no, just measure the
just
earth.
measure the direct drop, please. Or just refer us to anybody who did it.
I mean, I just told you the bridge was measured. The bridge is equal elevation above the
Didn't ask for a
lake.
measurement of a bridge.
Well, I
Ask
don't
for a
know.
measurement of the curvature it's presumed to be matching.
I give you a measurement of LIGO, which is measured to be of a straight line, and the elevation changes throughout it. So it's also not. It's a measurement of the curvature of the Earth.
All right, provide. All right, then. I got to go mop some floors anyway.
Wait, you just asked me to provide something.
Didn't hear anything.
Well, I have to pull it up, right? I mean, I don't have it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I got to pull up the fucking thing. It's in my bookmarks though. So. Let me see. Well, I'll post in the chat, and you can mop or whatever you got to do, and I'll just be in the chat.
All right, I don't have a whole lot of time to talk at one point, but I do have a question to something you were just saying. You were saying that the lake in Louisiana, I do believe that's Lake Pontchartrain, correct?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay, and that's one of the,
Yeah, that's
if not
right.
the longest. Yeah, not the. I mean, it might be the longest bridge in the U.S. Be wrong on that one, but it's pretty long. Somewhere in like the 20 miles or something, maybe longer.
23.8 miles in.
Okay, so you're saying that that bridge is following the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, it matches exactly what you expect the curvature to be.
And, okay. How do you know it's matching the curvature of the Earth?
Well, somebody took positions of the bridge. I think 2,000, 3,000 positions, centimeter accurate positions, and yeah, somebody else modeled it. I modeled it. I looked at the data.
Centimeter positions. That's really accurate.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how they did that because I live in the San Francisco Bay Area and we have tons of bridges around here, and they all curve too, but doesn't mean that they're following the curvature of the Earth.
Why do they curve?
For boats to go underneath them.
Okay. Yeah, this is not that kind of bridge. Like this has points in it for that, but the parts that I'm describing, I'll leave that out of it. Like there's humps in it, but then it goes back to being the same elevation above the water.
So you don't think that has to do with structural engineering versus building something over a flat piece of water? It might just be because of structural. Because
No.
I have taken a little bit of in architecture, when we were actually given this project when I was taking drafting in high school, and we had to build like the perfectly strong bridge with like drawbridges and suspension bridges. Those are the strongest ones, and when you build them exactly flat, they're not as strong as if you build them with a little bit of hump in the middle. So as far as I know, like every bridge I've gone over has a little bit of hump in it. It doesn't mean they're following the curvature of the Earth. Even if the Earth was curved, It doesn't mean that.
Yeah, but no, most bridges like the ones in Florida that go to the Keys, they stay equal elevation above the water for most of it. And like I said, if there's parts that don't, they're obviously different parts, but it goes back to being the same elevation. It's the same with the bridge I'm talking about. It's measured to be at the same elevation. So if you look at the bridge at many different elevations, it's the same elevation above the water. There's not difference. There are, like I said, there's kinks in it at select places that make humps, but then after the hump, it goes back to being the same elevation above the water. And the part that I'm talking about is not those humps.
Okay, well, the longest bridge in the world. I'm not trying to veer off the topic too much because bridges are, in my opinion, proof that the Earth is not spherical. But the longest bridge in the world, I think, is 104 miles long and is in China. And I've looked for evidence on that one. It's obviously in Chinese, so it's going to be a lot more difficult for me to find information on the schematics and even read them. But so you're saying over that 104 miles, there would be 6.5 miles roughly of Earth curve. They would have to be calculated into that.
Oh no, it wouldn't have to be calculated in. Like Lake Pontchartrain, that curvature doesn't need to be calculated into the building of the bridge.
No, did I say 6.5 miles? I mean, a mile and a half. It'd be 100 miles according to the Earth curve is 6,666.6 miles. So 104 miles would be maybe 7,000 feet divided by 5280. So when you're saying, why not?
69 miles is 1 degree.
No, hold on. If you're saying it's not calculated in, then why did they calculate it?
You wouldn't need to.
Well, then why did they calculate it in with the length of Pontchartrain?
Never said they did.
You're saying they did. You say that you can measure
it. Somebody had measured it. Somebody in this community had measured the positions in the bridge. 2,000 positions in the bridge. Yeah, I don't think in building the bridge you would need to account for the curvature of the Earth.
Okay, well, I've also heard people say that there's Bigfoots in their neighborhood and that ghosts exist in their bathroom. You can make all these claims all you want, but you have to substantiate it with something else other than someone did it.
I mean, I can give you the data that they produced. I can give you the pictures taken when they did it. I don't know. I can give you them saying that they did it.
They also can show us how they're on the ISS when there's obviously enough evidence to support they are not on the ISS. That's just a bunch of nonsense. And they're lying to us.
I can give you lots of stuff, you're right. And you could, you're right. There's no reason for you to accept it.
You can misinterpret it, and yeah. Yeah, you can misinterpret the evidence, but yeah.
Okay, who are you referring to, me or him?
Yeah, you. It's that evidence has been misinterpreted.
Oh, you're the guy that was trolling out here the other day. That's right.
No, I don't troll at all.
Okay. Yeah, well, as soon as I called you out on it last time, you left the stream like almost instantly. So yeah, that's what trolls do. They come in, and then as soon as they get called out, they leave.
Actually, that one time I did leave, but most of the time I didn't, and I don't troll. If you talk to anybody that's been normal on here for a while, they'll even tell you that I don't troll.
You're not drinking, are you?
No, I have a speech impediment.
It's funny you say that. I've always thought that the word impediment was actually impairment, but it was said by someone with an impediment.
It's kind of funny.
Okay.
He's using a play on words. Okay, you can smile a little bit.
But he might be telling the truth, but either way, it's still funny.
Well, yeah, could be true. Like, that's one of the wonderful things about life is, like, if someone makes fun of me about something I know I'm obviously not good at, whatever, and they make fun of me, I can laugh at it. That's fine. You got to learn how to laugh at yourself. And people that have speech
impediments, take offense.
No,
I didn't take offense. I just said,
I'm not saying you were. Okay. Have you seen the guy that he has like extreme muscular dystrophy or something like that.
Yeah,
He's
he's got
definitely like,
cerebral palsy. Yeah.
yeah, it's something. It's some
I haven't
extreme.
seen him, but I know
Well, I'm
people
not
that
saying
make
that you
fun of
have that.
themselves.
Yeah, he's making fun of himself. He goes around the mall and he's just yelling out loud. What is he saying? Triple train, cripple, and he's pulling a whole bunch of people behind him that are also like it's like a train of people that are physically impaired and they can't walk. And he's just yelling out, cripple train, toot toot. It's funny as hell. It's super funny. But getting back to the fact that the Earth is not a sphere, I'm just really curious as to why a whole bunch of people that are consistently coming into flat Earth conversations, like, what is your goal? You want everyone to be as miserable as you? I mean, what is it?
I'm not miserable, and that's a strange assumption that you make.
Well,
And
because
I wouldn't.
every single major flat earther that I've talked to is an atheist, and that sounds incredibly miserable and depressing.
By flat earther, I think you mean not a flat earther, and
I'm sorry, a globe earther. I'm sorry, globe
that's
earther.
fine. Yeah, but yeah, a lot. Some of them are. Some of them aren't. Some of them are Mormons. Some of them are Christians. Some of them are Jews. I'm a Jew. Uh, I believe in God. I'm not miserable. A lot of people not miserable. Some rich people. Some miserable people. That's true. But that's the same with everybody. So I think people come in rooms like this for different reasons. You guys come in here for some of the same reasons, but probably some different reasons too. I like talking about this stuff. So, and I honestly don't. I assume, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I'll never change any of y'all's minds. And I actually would be
Well,
upset.
we already changed our mind at one point. I'm looking for the answers again. If people can change my mind again, it's going to be extremely difficult because I've actually gone out and done all the tests. I challenged flat Earth for a long time, and then I finally, when I started doing my own tests and researching everything else and listening to all of what these atheist globies were talking about, and I'm not religious by the way, but I am spiritual. I know God creation is real, but the Earth is more important and special than I ever could have thought of before that. And when I start looking into all of the evidence that the space agencies have given us, and I mean all of them, they are liars. They are full out liars. And I've been in the military. I've been to these. I live down the street from a NASA agency, a NASA facility, and there's nothing about them that I trust. But they continue to steal money from us, and they continue to feed us all these nonsense lies and make movies about it. And like, if it was such a fact, there wouldn't even be this conversation at all.
Well, I think there's a lot of conflation there because NASA doesn't make movies. But regardless of that fact, I get what you're saying, and I told you the other day I was in the Navy as well, and the government lies when they feel like it's necessary for them to lie. But that's not important because the guys, the picture I posted and the data I posted, the data comes from Walter Bislin, who took Jesse Klosowski's data and he matched it to Soundly's image of the bridge. It matched the bridge, when you turn it, what's it called, head on or whatever. All three of those guys are actually devout Christians. I know Soundly. Soundly's a devout Christian. Jessica Klosowski as well. So I don't know if that's really relevant either. But regardless, those guys. I mean, I don't know if they're liars, but I know that the way in which this GPS centimeter accuracy data is gathered is a pretty reasonable way to do it. And yeah, I mean, I think that's what people should look into more is the centimeter accuracy, differential GPS, because you can make straight lines and you can measure the curve of the Earth in reference to that straight line.
Okay, well, you're automatically assuming that there is a curve of the Earth instead of trying to just say, okay, I'm going to measure something and then figure out what's going on instead of just jumping to the conclusion.
Well, yeah, because that's my position. But you're right. I could phrase it the way you said it, and it would be what I would do. Yeah, I would measure the straight line, and I would expect to find a curvature if there was curvature, and I would expect if I didn't find that curvature or that deviation from that line.
Oh, okay. Why
I'm
would you
actually
even
measuring
start
the
off by
plane.
even assuming that that would be an outcome?
Because that's my position. That's obviously that's my position. So I mean, you might have said it differently because that's your position. But obviously, what we would do is we do it, and then we would
So
find
you're
out
just
the result
confirming
would
your
be.
bias.
Well, no, I'm posting pictures of somebody who actually did do this, and so I
Yeah,
actually have
but you
evidence already
said
that this happens. But
he's asking why would you assume it? You saying that's your position.
yeah, that's why I would say that. I would express it the way I did because that's my position. So naturally, I would do that. But at the same time, he's right. I could express it, in a neutral way, and then we would
Redundant.
find the answer. So either way is fine. But I mean, naturally, that's how I would express it. Just like you guys might express it the other way, and it would be just fine.
That's a redundant statement to say that you assume that's your position. He's saying why? Why is
He's
that
not
your
asking
position?
me.
Why
He's,
are you
he's not
assuming it?
asking me. That's why that's my position. He's asked me why I said that.
Why you assume it?
I don't assume it. This is an example of one of those measurements. So it's not an assumption at this point. It's something I'm presenting to you that actually happens.
Well, that's what he asked, and you said because that's my position. What he
Yeah.
asked.
Okay. Jesus Christ. He's asking why I said that. I said that we should all make these measurements, and I'm saying that this is what you would find because this is what my position says you would find. However, of
Andrew,
course, if you're doing
am I hearing
it,
things?
you would be doing it with an open mind, not with
Yeah,
a.
I'm still here. Okay, my question is, if in construction you take a measurement, I don't draw a conclusion based on a preconceived notion of something. I take the measurement and then I present it, and then from there I can figure out, and other people can figure that out. But we don't have to know. I mean, what if it was the opposite way? It wasn't curved. It was what do they call that? The other theory that's not concave. No, concave.
Oh, yeah, you
So
measure that.
it's the opposite. Oh, well, so then why don't you assume that one?
Because that's not my position. I have evidence. I've already been convinced that the Earth is a globe, so I'm not of the mind that it's either planar or concave.
So what would it
that's
take
why
for
I'd
you
say
to
that. But
be unconvinced of that?
so what?
So what would, I mean, it took me a whole lot of evidence, right? It wasn't just one thing. As Bob Nodell always said, it wasn't just one thing or two things or three things. It was just the preponderance of evidence that convinces people that the Earth is not spherical, that there is no curve. So it takes a whole lot. So I'm asking you, what level of evidence, 10 things, 20 things, what would it take to convince you that you've been tricked?
I mean, I would have to have. Yeah, I mean, it would take preponderance of evidence, just as you said. I haven't seen any though. I've seen evidence that can be. You can find where the issue is with that evidence, and it's not actually shown plain. So I'd have to find evidence that I can't, you know, attribute to it not being a plane, and then I had to find many of those, as you said you did. I haven't found those. The evidence I came across, which is why I sought out this community in the first place, was to find that kind of evidence, and I didn't find. I found evidence to the contrary. So,
And how long have you
been
looking for the answers?
Well, I was looking for it for a brief amount. I don't know, maybe half a year or something. But then, I'm not necessarily looking for that evidence anymore. I mean, I come across evidence all the time, and I'm not. I'm not going to brush it off based on it, not being. I'm going to look. I'm going to base everything off its merits. So I'm just not looking for that evidence.
Well, I appreciate your honesty at least, because I was in the exact same boat as you, and I was fortunate at the time. I was actually working as a maintenance electrician at a VA hospital, and we had a lot of downtime right when I was finding out about this, and I was able to kind of fuck off, like dereliction of duty kind of situation. And I was just studying this stuff non-stop. Even when I got home, it was just like I was neglecting, like, even doing my dishes kind of situation. Like, just watching this stuff. And I was on the Globe side. I was watching everything on the Globe, and they were just hounding on flat Earth. And I thought it was funny because of how stupid it was. But then I started digging deeper into it and realizing that the mathematical equations that they were using were wrong. And that a lot of them were lying, and they're disrespectful assholes. For me to put it bluntly.
Some of them are, but yeah. I get that.
Well, I mean, not necessarily assholes, but they're condescending.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them are.
Yeah. You don't have to listen. You don't have to see someone's facial expression to know that they're smiling and they just think you're an idiot kind of situation. So, and that's what condescending basically is. So
that's why I got invited to 24/7. The first time I got invited was this guy who saw me on Twitter because I was asking people for evidence, but I was not one of the dudes who was arguing with the flat earthers because there was a lot of dudes just fucking arguing with them and picking on them and stuff like that. And to be honest, what I saw was the flat earthers in that argument. They were actually getting stuff right, where the people arguing against them actually get stuff wrong too. So I had to correct those guys, and then I ended up, decided the flat earthers. And then the dude invited me here, and that's when I first saw the mountain of evidence that you guys have. Uh, that was 5 years ago though.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Well, okay. So in regards to, you said you're Jewish. You were also in the Navy. What was your rate in the Navy? I do believe we did speak. What was your rate in the Navy?
I was a CTI, and then I was LS.
Oh wow, you were a CP. Oh shit. Okay. And then why'd you go from a CTI to an OS? That's kind of weird.
It's not a long story. So I during my interview for my top secret clearance, I told them the truth that my recruiter told me to lie about I had DUI and a minor in consumption, and my recruiter told me not to bring that up. And then
they found out.
Well, no, I told him in the interview because he's doing a top secret clearance interview, and I happen to know that if they find stuff like that out during their interview, they're going to kick you out and you're going to get charged. And so I just let them know because they're going to send the FBI to your neighborhood and they're going to find all that stuff out. So.
It's like a 10-step FBI like hardcore, background check. Yeah.
I got kicked out, but like I was either going to get kicked out or I had to get a waiver from the CO, the commanding officer of the base, that I could stay in. So I got a waiver from the commanding officer, but I can only stay in if I cross-rated to either undesignated or logistics specialist. So I just picked logistics specialist.
Well, you can't really cross-designate to undesignated. That's like a misnomer. Yeah. But I understand what you're saying, right? So you had to choose a new A school. So you never actually got to go to CTI school in Monterey?
I was working. Okay, so I was a CTI. I was actually a part. I was.
Which language?
Designated. I was supposed to be doing Farsi, but I already knew Arabic and Hebrew, and.
Oh wow! Okay.
So during Mermaid, what's it called, Mermaid Dawn, I was actually what's it called? I had to go. Was it IA? I had to go IA to a command that was actually attached to that mission, but I didn't do anything. That was one in Libya, the mission when they were over.
I think I was in a little bit before you. So I was in like 2002 to 2000. Well, I was in Iraq in 2002 to 2006.
Yeah, I was 10 to 14.
A little bit before. Yeah, right.
My girlfriend, she was in the army from 2 to 10, and she was in Iraq. I tell you that, but she didn't do as long as you did.
And I'll tell you this: if you were in Iraq at that time during the initial war, those guys had a great time. They didn't have to do shit except interpret. It was cake.
I would have loved to stay. I actually was looking into it the other day. Actually, I think I was talking to you. Were talking to somebody. I looked into it during that conversation about joining the reserve still and going back as a CTI. But yeah, we don't got to take up the whole. I did have a question for you though, because I talked to Bonks now when I first met him, and it was weird. We had the same scenario happen to us. But you remember in boot camp during battle stations, at the end of it, everyone's standing there and you're holding that hat that says recruit, and then they switch it with the hat that says Navy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah.
Okay, this is okay. Did you notice everybody else was crying?
No, I never noticed that. I was in the special force. No, hell no. I was slated. So I was in a division. The 900 division.
Yeah, I was in a 900 division.
Okay, so I was not in a 900 division. I was in a different division. So everybody there was slated to be like a CB, a diver, SEALs, EOD, rescue swimmer. So we had like hardcore. Like one of our chief was a force recon corpsman, and then we had some hardcore guys that were training us. and
But
the RDCs, recruit drill instructors. I'm sorry,
thing is,
recruit drill commanders.
you didn't go through the cool battle stations though, dude. I don't know if you've seen it since the battle stations they do now is like a real fucking ship. It's a real destroyer or a real some ship. Universal Studios like puts the whole thing together, so the whole ship is real. It's underground, and you do like 8 real missions. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
That's,
The way we did it was, they just wake you up at a random part of the day, and they like battle stations, and you have to get up, and we just had to run around the entire base. I mean, all the way down, to the, through the tunnel, down to the swim area. Then you have to fucking undress, and you have to go swim, and then fucking get up while you're still wet, and fucking run back over to do like these munitions types of training things, and yeah, it was an all night event. So
it's way cooler now. Oh yeah, it's all night event. You gotta stay awake, and if you sleep, you fail, and all kind of stuff. But the point is, at the end of it, they switch the hats out. And when I talked to Bong Sound, I talked to another guy who used to be in here called P-Link, and it was weird because we all had the same sensation, where it was kind of like a because you said it was moving even, but it was really like a brainwashing type of technique. It just seemed so weird to me what they were doing, and like I was like one of the only people who was like looking around, and everybody else was crying. And then Bong Sound said, yeah, he had the same sensation. Like he's like, it's weird that everybody else is like being like, it's like a moving thing or whatever, but it's like it seems weird to me. But that's another story.
yeah, well, I mean, it is a real proud thing. It's like if you ever watch people that are graduating from buds, when they start off with 120 people, and there's only like 40 of them that actually finish it through, and they come through, and you have a captain or an admiral come through, and they put that trident on their chest, and I mean, I would say that I would definitely have some tears coming out of my eyes if I ever graduated. I was actually supposed to go to buds, but I got in trouble, so they took that away from me.
Yeah, I guess it's different for you then, because the 900 division I was in was because I was part of the graduation ceremony. They have the dudes who do the band, and they do the whole fucking marching thing. I don't know. So that's part of the 900 division. So we have to do special training. I think you're in it for a different reason. Like you're in the 900 division because you're actually doing different special training. So.
Yeah, I was in Division 358, and we were in Building 2. I was on the top left side of whatever that was. So we could, I don't know, I can't remember which department we were in, but
That's amazing, guy. That's amazing, guys. Did any of you have to shoot 40 miles over water?
What?
No.
They do what?
Yeah, what now?
He was asking if we ever had to shoot 40 miles over water. No, the people that have to do that kind of stuff, there are 2 different rates in the Navy. So in the Army and the Marines, they call it an MOS, which is a military occupational specialty. But in the Navy, there are certain people that are shooting the guns. One of them requires a top secret security clearance. That's called an FC, which is a fire controlman. And they're the ones that work on like the Sea Whizzes and the Ram launchers, things like that. And then there's the gunner's mates. Those are the ones that like work in the armories, and they do that kind of stuff. They man the guns and that kind of stuff. So the maximum range that I ever saw a weapon shoot was the Sea Whiz, which is, if you've never seen one of these things shoot before, just look it up. CIWS stands for Close-In Weapon System. As soon as you see one of these things shoot, you're going to be like, oh my god. Like it shoots like over 3,000 rounds a minute, which is it's incredible to watch that thing shoot. And those things, they never shoot them directly at the water because they're designed to shoot down like incoming missiles and like aircraft and stuff like that. But I have seen weapons that can shoot very, very far.
Yeah. So it's FC you call them?
Yeah, it's a fire controlman.
Okay. I wonder what calculations he uses. If he uses the big...
It's surface to air, so...
Yeah, but okay. So let's get an FC that's fighting surface to surface. I wonder what calculations he uses.
Well, usually it's stuff you can see or stuff on your radar.
Is there a curvature calculation there anywhere at all?
Yeah, I
Like
heard
to,
about curvature calculations when I was in the Navy, and back then I believed it because I was just young and naive, and I believed it at the time because I was a huge space junkie and all that. And I was standing up. There's also these people that are. I think they merged a couple of different rates together. They used to have like signalmen and things like that. The guys that have to change out the flags and all that kind of stuff. And, they're on the lookout for all that. So if you're up on in the bird's nest, like on top of the tower on a ship,
It must be a
they
hard job changing flags.
hey,
yeah, probably not.
hey, what's up with detention? I'm in detention now. What's going
No,
on
you're
there?
not. No, you're
What does
not.
that mean?
You're in detention?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
don't
says
know.
I'm in detention. Yeah.
Right, so you have to stay.
But
Just leave. You have to stay behind.
I don't know what it means. What does it mean?
I have no fucking clue, man.
Because
What do you think
you weren't
detention means?
supposed to. It only lasts a minute.
Okay. Oh, it's probably because I said fucking. I told somebody they had a fucking funny gift. That makes
Fucking swear, man.
but so one of my buddies, he was undesignated, and he finally went to A school. He came back onto the ship because he became a signalman. He was talking about how they're sort of like lookouts and all that kind of stuff too. And he was like, oh yeah, so he was telling me all about how if you're 6 feet tall on the water line, you can only see three miles out before the curvature of the Earth starts to drop off. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. He said that's how they can spot ships from certain height above the ship. And the ship I was on, they said without any, it was the USS Nassau LHA-4. You can look it up and it's decommissioned now. But it was a marine amphibious ship. So they would bring tanks and howitzer cannons on and like 3,500 to 4,000 Marines. And then we had a crew of Navy, which was about 1,200 people or so. So I mean, it was fucking huge. It's the size of an aircraft carrier, a little bit smaller than an aircraft carrier. Anyways, he was telling us that without all of the extra weight on the ship and like all the helicopters and planes and stuff, the flight deck was 73 feet above the waterline. But when all the extra weight got added to it, it would drop down to like 60 feet above the waterline. He said they had to know that information to know how far away they could see ships. I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes plenty of sense because the Earth is curvature, right? But then when I go out and do it myself now, when I'm more intelligent and wise about the situation, I can tell that that's easily disprovable. And I think a lot of people in the Navy, including Mark Sargent, has had a lot of these people that were experts with this information and have said, yeah, they thought the same exact thing. But then when they think back to all of their training manuals, they're like, no, that was completely incorrect because of the misconception that they were given during that type of misinformation.
Hold on, because you need to be clear about what you're saying. Are you saying that what's the misconception? There's a misconception that you can see further depending if you're 10 feet higher or not. Or is that what you're saying?
Well, that you can, the higher up you get, you can see differently than if you're at the water line.
Well, I mean, I just say this. I mean, I think as a sailor, going back since the beginning of, I mean, as far as sailors I remember, that's the whole point of a crow's nest. That's why they had a crow's nest. Is for that reason, I thought.
Well, yeah, okay. Just because you're higher up, you can see a little bit further because of your the angle you're looking at. It doesn't mean that the Earth is curving. It just means that the angle you're looking at is easier to see.
Okay, I thought you were saying okay. So, but it's still though. But it's true then still though that if the ship is 10 feet higher, still you still have to make an adjustment. But you're just saying it's not because of the Earth curvature. Okay, I thought you were saying that.
Well,
it's not true that you can see further.
Well, that's what I was being told at the time.
I got you.
But I mean, I was I was a construction electrician in the Seabees, and I was on that ship for one deployment, and then I got transferred over to NMCB 5 in Fort Wainimi, California. So after that, I was just like deployed to Iraq.
I suppose what I'm wondering is that the Yamamoto and the Bismarck used to fire like 35, 40 mile, maybe more. and the calculations they use for trajectories. Would it matter if they put a would some mathematical genius be able to figure out whether they put Earth curve calculator fucking formula into the equations that they use to fire 45 mile? And if you took it out, it wouldn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've looked that up, and I've never seen anything in regards to railguns or to how the U.S. Army was using radio microwave propagation to shoot radio waves like extremely long distances without
Right.
any issues whatsoever.
Right, and there was no curve calculator in there at all.
No, there was nothing like that. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, the U.S. Navy, U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, NASA, I think even like the CIA and many different flight manuals, I think even FAA flight manuals all talk about how when they are training pilots, they have to train them over a flat, non-rotating stationary Earth.
Yeah, they accept that as what do you call it? That's the fucking word I'm looking for. But yeah, fact or whatever. But yeah, so I guess that's the point.
Yeah, NASA. The one that I can only recall off the top of my head at the moment is NASA document 1207. So you can look that up. It's the deviation and derivation of a linear aircraft. And
Yeah,
it's right after the introduction, it talks about that, and it says it like multiple times.
Yeah,
a flat, non-rotating stationary Earth.
Yes, you assume that's what it is because that's what it is.
I wouldn't say that. It does say that those documents assume that, though. Yeah, I've read.
No, it says that specifically. It literally word for word says that.
Yeah, it does actually.
Word for word says what? It says these. It says these numbers are assuming this.
A flat linear non-moving plane.
No. If you're sitting at your computer, just type in NASA 1207. Okay.
I've read them. I'm agreeing with you that it says that, but I'm saying that it says that these calculations are assuming a non-rotating flat Earth.
Stationary. Yes. Yes.
I'm saying But I'm saying what PMAC added is he added because it is that we're assuming a non-rotating flat Earth because it is non-rotating flat Earth.
Okay, well I take that back.
That. It just says we're assuming this.
No.
No, I don't think it even says assume at all.
It doesn't say assume. No. No, I don't know. I don't think so. We'll have to figure that out. We'll have to look that up. I don't think it says assume. I see you take it for granted, like it's a fact.
NASA document you said.
Yeah, there's no assume.
1207. So 1207. I believe that's correct. I'm out on my walk right now.
1207.
I believe so. Yeah, NASA document 1207.
Yeah, I've seen this before. Yeah,
it's funny how it's purple in my search, but I've just let me pull it up. But yeah, Mark.
And I believe it was written in 1987. I believe that was written. I think that's what it says on the top of the manual.
88, but it's close enough.
Okay, 88. There.
Do you know what day? Was it a Wednesday?
February 31st.
Was that a Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm just kidding.
Doesn't exist.
Wait, what? Does that matter?
Not really. That's why I'm kidding.
Okay. What were you saying about Mark Sargent, though? Who was bringing up Mark Sargent?
Kosho?
No, I thought you said somebody else said. I don't know. Oh no, I was just saying I've read all the documents that I didn't mean Mark Sargent. I meant Rob Skiba. He had a bunch of them. Somebody else had a bunch of them.
Right, and
yeah,
I got a question for you because you say that you're Jewish. Are you a practicing Jew or not?
I'm an expert.
He's a naughty Jew.
Oh,
I don't practice anymore. I've gone pro.
So
no, I'm not a practicing Jew though. No.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just asking because there was a very intelligent lady that came on. I don't know, 5 days ago or so, and she's Muslim and she's a practicing Muslim, And I was asking her about flat Earth and what and she's obviously aware that the Earth is not spherical, and she's a flat Earther. So I was asking her about how the Quran, she pronounces it differently because she actually speaks Farsi and all that. So she was saying that, she was able to quote it like verse by verse. Or they don't call them verses, right? In the Quran, they call them something else. Remember the name of it. Either ways, she was able to recite it very, very well, very, very quickly. So, and I'm not Christian, but if you ask a lot of Christians, like Rob Skiba, if you got to watch the Rob Skiba debate that he did about 5 years ago against Robert Sungenis at the International Flat Earth Convention, and Rob Skiba, he just completely wrecked Robert Sungenis, who has a PhD in philosophy and different things. He also has taken like advanced physics courses, and it wasn't even like a debate. It was just like a slaughterhouse. And I didn't know shit about like debate tactics, or I do now, but at the time I didn't really understand how to go about that. And I don't know much about the Bible. I've read like large chunks of it, but Robert Sungenis just got his ass handed to him, and he's got a PhD in the subject, and he believes that the Earth is here's the interesting thing. He believes the Earth is a sphere, but he will absolutely take to his grave that he says that the sun and the moon are close and they're local, that the Earth is non-rotational, it's stationary and the center of the universe. But he says the only thing that we're wrong about is the fact that the Earth is flat. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
But he says, yeah, everyone's wrong. That Earth is not flat. That the sun and the moon are local. The stars are also local. And he says he can prove it with physics. He was trying to. It was a biblical flat Earth debate.
Yeah.
Physics type of a debate.
There's actually a few of those. There's that dude Dan, whatever, I forget what his name is, but he wrote a book about it. And he's a biblical glober, but he's like it's a young Earth creationist and like diehard Christians, those type of dudes. Those are like the most hardcore anti-flat Earther guys. They almost despise the flat Earth. It seems like that guy Dan, like I said, he wrote a whole book about how the Earth's not flat. But he's a young Earth creationist.
I don't suppose you have a link to that, Andrew.
At the moment, I don't. I'll look for it real quick. I'm not sure how it's going to affect Discord.
Skibo, blessed memory.
Yeah, Skiba, man, that guy got murdered in the hospital. I promise people that he went in there he thought he had like pneumonia or something, and they put him on a ventilator, gave him remdesivir, which caused him to fall into a coma, a coma, and he was in a coma for, I think it was like close to a month or something, and then, he died in a coma. That's gotta be a fucked up way to die. Just not even knowing that you're gonna die, just in the hospital like that. That's fucked.
That was perhaps one of the biggest losses for the community.
Yeah,
he was a good dude.
Yeah,
he was one of those guys. He's like he represents a lot of good stuff, and he's got a good heart. He had a good heart.
Yeah,
Very
and
genuine.
one of the things that I'm not sure if you guys, it's weird how many people I've mentioned when I come into this chat, and I'll say, "Oh, you heard of this person, that person?" And a lot of people are like, "No, never heard of them." But Darren, from Jarenism, him and I pretty much think on the exact same like thought pattern as far as like religion and flat Earth and all that stuff. And he's a couple years before me on this, so I am definitely listening to a lot of stuff, and he's way more active than I am. But he was really good friends with Rob Skiba, and he made a really good statement. Jaren's not Christian, but he is spiritual, and he knows he's not an atheist. And he said that Rob Skiba is the only person that made him actually think that he wanted to become. I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, because Rob Skiba, he doesn't force it on you. He's not pushy. He just presents the evidence in a clear, logical way, and he's very knowledgeable with the subject. And He's like, all right, well, take it or leave it. Doesn't really matter, but here's the information. But
Yeah.
that's the thing about a lot of religion that really steers me away, is that some people become extremely arrogant about it. And like,
Bushy,
oh, I
bushy.
know it's correct. And they just start spouting off Bible verses and stuff. And it's like, well, if you don't believe in, blah, 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 or blah, 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 or blah, 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 it's like, well, then you're wrong. Well, okay. Do you understand why I'm not Christian now? This is stupid. But yeah, Rob Skiba never did that. And that's why a lot of people liked him a lot. And he also did his own flat Earth experiments too. He actually came out with an entire series called Testing the Globe. And I think he said it took him like 9 months to a year before he was finally convinced that, without using the Bible, that the Earth is not spherical. And he was by no means an unintelligent man whatsoever.
The truth doesn't need no defense. You just put it out there, and it'll reveal itself.
Yeah, that's a real popular thing. The truth does not need defense. The truth reveals itself very quickly.
He used to sell this refraction experiment with like a little look like a glass. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's still available or not, but it's a very very interesting representation how the light hits and how we see the sun.
Okay, you want to tell us what you're talking about, or show us a video, or
Uh,
just yeah, we'll listen.
Rob Skiba had an experiment. He had a plastic lens that he put on a table, and you can take the lens. You can see the light through the lens. It's a very easy contraption, but it basically proves how the sun goes. I'm not sure what it's called, but I remember seeing it.
Well, yeah, it explains what might be happening. It doesn't actually prove anything, but yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, by the way, I did find the debate right now. It's really easy to find on
Good man.
YouTube. I'm not sure how I can link it through Discord on my phone. Not really. I'm kind of new to Discord on my phone, but on my computer it'd be really easy. Just go on YouTube and type in Rob Skiba versus Dr. Robert Sungenis, and it should come up pretty quick. And the entire video is 2 hours and 9 minutes long. Yeah, it's from 2018. I'll try to link it right now.
Doctor Who? No, that's okay. I can get it. Dr. Rob Skiba versus Doctor Who?
Sungenis, which is Sungenis. Sungenis.
He's the guy who made The Principal, the geocentric.
Yes.
Movie.
Yeah, it's something like that. I know I've heard of that movie. I've never seen it though.
I've seen parts of it, but I posted this. This is from the document. I just wanted to go over this real quick. Now, all the documents will describe different descriptions of this, but to be clear, what they assume is the rigid aircraft, the constant mass, the flat, non-rotating Earth. Okay, and they're using that in distinction between a asymmetric and a symmetric aerodynamic model, but both of those are assumptive models. And of course, we already know that the craft isn't rigid and the mass isn't constant. But these are assumptions they make for, deriving these calculations, whatever.
Yeah, but why would they do that?
It tells you. It's for, it says at the top, it says quick approximations. It says the need for a linear model of aircraft for the analysis of vehicle dynamics and control law design is well known. These models are widely used and only for computer applications, but also for, and not only for computer applications, but also for quick approximations and desk calculations, not for accurate descriptions or calculations. These are quick approximations and desk calculations.
Yeah, but if the Earth is a globe, why would you bring that into the equation at all?
for the need of quick approximations and desk calculations, and also
No, but
computer applications.
no, but it's a globe. It's moving. It's round. Why would you bring this into the equation at all? You listen to me, Kosho.
Yeah, you listen to me. It's in these words. The reason for what you just asked for is because one will give you quick approximations and desk calculations and
Well,
computer applications.
how?
Although you can do the other computer applications
All
as
right.
well.
So, but how? If one thing is one thing and one thing is another, how are you gonna get a quick approximation of anything if you're using fucking two different models? If you're trying to figure out something about a round Earth and a globe and a stationary and thing is moving about, how is equating that to a stationary flat plane that is non-motion going to give you a quick equation of fucking anything? Are you listening to me, Gojo?
Yes. Why would it get? What's the difference between the answers going to be?
I don't know. I just don't understand what you're saying, man.
They're going to be different answers, but one is the use of this is to give you quick approximations, the sort of approximations that allow you to make the tables
You're not listening, bro.
and the equations they put in this paper.
All right, I'm going to take a time out because you're not listening. I'm going to take a
I
time.
am listening to you.
Out.
You're saying how can you use it when it's wrong? That's what you're saying. I'm telling you how it can be used. It can be used because
Well, no, he's asking
still
why.
approximation.
It's counter-logical. So if it is indeed spherical, then just use spherical calculations for a quick approximation, rather than trying to assume something that is completely opposite. Like, you don't want to just try to calculate part of a circle when you're not going to be using a circle for the calculations. If you want to just like use Pythagorean's theorem, which is not used for a circle, you want to use pi instead. So it's like completely illogical to assume straight and flat versus spherical and curved.
Yeah, but the point of it is for simplicity, for quick approximations, and also for general descriptions. So they can give you this because they can make this general. They don't have to include things like the fact that the mass of the aircraft is changing, which it does, but instead they assume a constant mass because of the fact that assuming that will make the whatever you're solving for much simpler because you're not having to do the calculus that would be involved in having an ever-changing mass or with a rigid aircraft. The craft isn't rigid, especially not flying through the air, but if they use it as a rigid aircraft with constant mass, with a non-flat, non-rotating Earth, they can make the sort of assumptions that they use those assumptions. They can make the sort of calculations that allow them to do it on a piece of paper or do it in their head or make approximations instead of because you're right. You're going to get a more correct answer if you include the correct information, but it's going to take more time. It's going to be more complicated, and it's probably not useful for putting a description.
So wait, hold on. Listen to the logic that you're using right now. So you're saying they're going to use the incorrect information in order to get a less accurate quick assumption.
That's right. They don't. This so just to be clear, what a lot of people say is, oh, they train pilots this way, and pilots fly this way. That's not correct. These papers are often for the use of describing what what a missile will do or what a simulation is made for. Whereas there's some simulations that don't do this, by the way. They don't assume a flat, non-rotating Earth, but they tell you that it's doing that in order to to give you a scenario that is easily general and easily to describe. Whereas if you describe all the variable details, like I said, like in a single flight, an aircraft is going to change mass, no, like undoubtedly, completely. It's using gas to change the mass, but they use it as a constant mass.
They're definitely not like having pilots sit down and read the entire NASA document 1207 in order to like, oh, you have to understand all that. I mean, there's some pretty complicated equations in there that most pilots are not going to understand. It would just take years and years for them to just get into a plane and fucking fly it. Because I've heard a lot of pilots, they learn how to fly like, large commercial aircraft and whatever. It's just like getting an advanced driver's license. You learn how to do the basics of it, and then from there, you go and fly. So when it comes to these advanced type of training manuals, these are more for like engineers, like aeronautic engineers and things like that. So, but they are
That's right.
used in a certain way, and if they're mentioning that at all, there's something to it. They're not just saying it for no reason.
Well, no, that's a good point. They're not saying it for no reason. If it wasn't the case, like if it wasn't the case that a flat, non-rotating Earth and constant mass, if that were actually the truth, there'd be no need for them to put it in there, because then they're just giving you a document that has the true answers and the true calculations for stuff. But
Well done, Kosho.
they put it in these documents. They put it in these documents to let you know that these are the difference. These are the assumptions that they're making. These are the differences, uh, from reality that they're doing. And there's some documents that even describe, like I said, I read all these documents, and there's some documents that describe like helicopters or it might be missiles. But it not only tells you that they're making those assumptions, but it tells you how useful those assumptions are and what kind of errors you get at different altitudes and stuff like that. Because those, it's like the 8 inches per mile squared. It's a quick number shorthand that gives you an estimation, an approximation for the Earth curvature rate. We all know it's not a correct equation, and we also know how.
It's pretty damn close.
Well, it's pretty damn close. It's pretty damn close up to a certain point, and that point is established. It tells you, okay, it's good to this point, and after this point, it falls off. It varies by this much. So that's my point. Some of these documents,
because
describe
it
that
becomes
way.
a parabola at some point, and then it just becomes
Well, it's
it
always a
starts to
parabola.
curve back. Well, no, not it is like 1,000 miles. It's not.
The equation is a parabola, but that parabola and a sphere, they are identical almost, or they're pretty close at the beginning of it. Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't notice it's a parabola after a certain point, until a certain point.
Yeah, right. You can't get right.
So, I mean, you can just, if it was just 8 inches per mile, then it would be a slope. But then when you start putting that squared part into it, that's when it starts to curve back onto itself versus different calculations. So, when I was going through this in extreme detail with one of my coworkers who he had a master's degree in architecture, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, "Oh, there's no way at all." He was an atheist, and from Iran, super smart guy. And he's like, "All right." One night, I was on graveyard shift at the time, and so he came in. He said, "Hey, come into my office. I'm going to sit you down." He taught me how to use AutoCAD. I got like 3 weeks of like personal training how to use it, and then after I got that training, he said, "Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go on here and we're going to create, because in AutoCAD you can create any shape, any size you want. All you have to do is just change the values to it. You can create a circle that's 27 billion light years across if you want to, something ridiculous. So we went in and we looked up all the NASA stuff according to what they say the Earth spherical, Earth diameter and radius is. And then from there, what we did is I asked him what. I never saw anything. Sorry, someone just came up and asked a question. Anyways, from there, I was showing him what the Earth curvature calculator was. And he's like, "Oh, well, I don't really believe that." So he went and he put in all the values to it, and it came out pretty much exactly like the Earth. And we put in all different kinds of values, and it came up exactly as the calculator, the 8 inches per mile square. So, and that was on AutoCAD. So there was no lying about it.
I feel like a lot of times they also have to tell us the truth, but they hide it in plain sight, just in case when shit hits the fan, they can always say, "Oh, we told you about it."
No, there's no coming back from this one.
Yeah, what that's called is revelation of the method. It's like it's more like an ethical kind of a thing where, oh yeah, we're allowed to lie to you as long as we don't fully lie. Yeah, we can tell you a little bit, but yeah,
Now they've
most
gone
of the time
full
we're going to
out.
lie to you.
Yeah, they've gone full out. There's no coming back from this one. Once it's
Yeah,
revealed,
but
you're done,
see,
bro.
for them, right, their life is based in deception, so it's not even a thing.
They'll
I'm sorry, I'm
put
back. You guys
yeah,
talking about vampires?
yeah. We thought we were just trying to we're trying to figure out if you're a vampire or not, Kosho.
Well,
Oh,
actually,
no way.
all of us, there was like 9 people that just came out and admitted they were vampires. So you just missed out, man.
No way. More power to you,
No,
dude.
I'm kidding. No.
No,
I mean,
but yeah.
it wouldn't be too bad.
You know, I wish I could find it. I used to. I remember it was a lot. It was probably 4 years ago that I read all these things, but I wish I could find the exact. Because it's crazy when you look at all of these. They say generally the same thing with the whatever. Some of them say we assume these things. Some of them say these are the things that. Some of them say we're assuming this, and this is a problem, and this will give you an error. So it's like you read all these, and you get the picture that some of them they're all saying that these are generalized assumptions that will basically only give you an approximation. Some of those approximations are only useful to a certain point.
Well, if the whole thing is found to be a lie, then they'll probably come out with some kind of story like, well, we were also fooled. Geez, we just went along with it just like you. We didn't know either. Man, wow, we're
That wouldn't be
sorry.
a lie.
Eh?
That wouldn't be a lie, dude. What are you talking about? Like, if it came out to be true, that would be the truth for me. I'd be like, yeah,
No, you don't understand what I'm saying?
Wait. What do you mean if it came out to be true? Who is your authority on truth?
I mean, that's a good point. You kind of know what I mean, but you're right, though. It is confusing to consider
Yeah,
because
you should know that, bro.
basically,
If the television came out and
if
said, right,
had
hey,
realized,
it's okay to accept reality now. Go ahead.
If I had realized,
you don't have to lie to yourself anymore or others because there's no benefit. Because really, when you lie, the only person you hurt is yourself.
Do you understand by your definition of a lie, by what you're saying I'm doing? By that definition, I would say.
Yeah, but we
doing
both know what you're doing, Kosho. You and I both know.
Yeah, that's pretty much the definition of lie. What Aaron just said.
But if he's calling what I'm doing lying, then by definition, by his definition, what he's
I never said
lying,
that. But we both know what you're doing.
What is that? What am I doing?
Talking shit.
Like I said, we both know what you are doing.
Well, I can't confirm that because I don't know what you know what I'm doing, so I can't confirm it.
I know what you know. Don't worry. I know more than you know.
Well, I can't confirm that, but
because your what you're doing is futile. See, and you don't know that.
It might be. Honestly, I would respect that assessment if I could confirm that you honestly do know what I'm doing. But regardless of that weird meta assessment,
yeah, we would respect you more if you actually told the truth, Kosho.
Okay, well then, based on your assessment, you should respect me more. But I don't know if that's why you should respect me more or not. But regardless,
what were we
Okay, so
talking about?
there's something. I might butcher this a tiny little bit, so pardon me completely to do that. But there's like an old parable of if you build a house on like a faulty foundation, if you build a house on sand, it's just doomed to fail because you can't build a house on sand. So it's essentially if you build a lie based on a lie, it's going to just eventually fail, and that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, to some degree, yeah. But by whose perspective? Like in what?
The people that are looking for the answers.
I don't think most of them actually think it's a lie. They probably believe that it's the truth.
There's a lot of Globers who say that flat earthers are liars and all this kind of stuff. I don't think that
That's
you guys
because they didn't
are
do
liars.
the correct research.
Well, sure, but no, it's because they are assuming that you guys are not telling the truth. Where I'm under the impression that you guys are just expressing what you guys know to be true. It's just different than what I know to be true. So I don't think either of us are lying. I just think we're both have differences of opinions about this, or we understand things differently.
Okay. Have you ever
Maybe that
seen
doesn't mean anyone's lying.
Brian Mullen? Have you ever heard of him?
I have. I also heard. Yes, I have heard.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen his videos though? He's a
I have.
master's degree in structural engineering, and he came out with a series. Yeah, right. So, and then a whole bunch of people instantly came out from the engineering community and started attacking him. He was forced because they were contacting, like, not specifically his employer, but they were contacting like his certification agency or whatever it is. And yeah, they just demolished him in regards to like his personal life. And if there was any legitimacy about what they were talking about, they wouldn't have to use personal attacks, character assassination, in order to debunk him. But he came out with this information that was so hardcore that he had to be attacked.
He was attacked in the same way that the rest of you guys are attacked. I'm not attacking you, but I am discussing this with you guys. But there are people that will attack you guys because you have a difference of opinion. Brian Mullen had a difference of opinion, but also had credentials. I don't think he left the community because people had done that. Although the gentleman who did that, he's passed away since then, so he's out of the community as well. But Brian Mullen left the community because he got a promotion. So he got promoted at his company. He's now the head of engineering, and I assume that he probably just didn't want, you know, any flack from this to translate to that. But he didn't lose his job. He didn't, there's no bad consequences that happened to him. He got a promotion. He's just not in the community anymore.
No, I never said he lost his job, but apparently,
yeah.
I don't know. I've never spoken with the guy, but very smart. He came out with a whole series on it, and then all of a sudden, he shut down his YouTube channel because it was as soon as that dude Netenchuk or whatever his name was that was basically going after him hardcore, and that dude was a flat out liar. He came out with saying it was just ad hom after ad hom. And if he's passed away, all right, well, I'm not going to shed a tear on that one because I don't respect people that are going to lie. I'm not saying that you're lying, but I don't know anything about anything beyond why he left doing the research he was doing.
What did George lie about? He's the guy who called the board.
Dude, he was calling people like how they were abusing their children and stuff. It was terrible. And he didn't know these people. He was just coming out and just doing that. He was doing it on Nathan Oakley's channel. And Nathan Oakley finally just, I think, banned him from the channel.
What was his name? Sorry.
Nathan Oakley.
What was his name? Sorry, Andrew?
I cannot.
Oh, George Hanukkah, Alsatian. Alsatian is a
Netanuk or something. It's a really weird pronunciation.
But yeah, I think
he worked. Yeah.
What the? Yeah, I think he passed there though, a while back.
All right, well, sorry to say that. If he did, then I don't know.
Yeah, in Alsatian is his avatar.
I mean, he was so terrible. I listened to him enough to the point where I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not that bad at math. I'm listening to what you're saying, and you're being a foolish old man. He had like a stone to grind with someone else. And
yeah, he used to show up to Flat Earth conferences, and they would ask him why you're here, and he would just say, whatever. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I think he passed about a year ago or 2 years ago, maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough people in the globe Earth side of the argument, and that's why I came over. It was completely harmful and despicable, and it seemed like those people were miserable atheists that had no real goals in their life other than trying to troll. And then I started seeing how they were obvious globe proponents. They were creating fake flat Earth channels to make it look stupid.
Yeah, but
and
also
it was really easy to point out.
Who done
Yeah,
that?
they had a handful of nothing. They had no
Hold
proof.
on, hold on.
No proof is Kosho.
But who done that? He just made a claim about the people making
Well,
fake
fucking
flat
loads of
Earth
people.
channels.
Way back in the day when we started on YouTube, they used to porn bomb the channels.
Yeah, but that's not what he said. He said people had made fake flat Earth channels. Fake flat Earth.
Oh, okay, all right.
Whatever. I hadn't seen that. I'm just curious. Done that.
Well, I can't recall any of them. That it's kind of a baseless accusation on my point, or a baseless claim, because I listened to them and other people would promote them on their channel for a short bit, Jaren and Glowbusters, and then it was just very obvious they were not on the flat Earth side. They were just coming up with like how the moon and the sun like go into a portal every single day, and it's just like, come on, get the fuck out of here. This is not something that can even be proven. And they just, it's like the flat Earth is like a Pac-Man kind of a game.
Yeah, I would say the penguin guy. Who was the penguin guy? What do you call him, Kosho? The guy with the penguins. Fuck me.
Penguin?
Hang on.
From Batman?
Jake the asshole when he was there with Jake the asshole. Fuck, what do you call him? No, wait, never mind.
It just gets to a certain point where you have to use logical discernment on whether or not someone is being honest or not. So there are a lot of people on the globe side that just want to hide their face, hide their name, and that kind of thing. And I just don't trust them. Sorry, but if you want to just completely be deceptive, and then give out and just use constant ad hominems and interrupt people constantly during a simple conversation, then I stopped listening to them. And that's just what I saw from the Globe Earth side. It was irrelevant to my. It was a waste of time.
Yeah, there's people like that. There's people like that on both sides. George Hatnicek, or whatever you say. I mean, you do know his name because he's not only expressed his name, but he's shown his house and gone to flat Earth, conferences and meetups and stuff like that. So I don't know if what you said really applies to him or not, but there's people like me where I've been reluctant to have my name and identity out there because of the fact that there's people on not all flat earthers, but there at one point there are flat earthers who are extremely they're afraid that there's people who are controlling the world and that they're Jewish or whatever, and so they'll make there used to be a thing in this server where they would have you didn't know it wasn't always on YouTube, and they would have sort of just like 2 hour long conversations about what they really should be doing and like going and
But Kosho,
rounding people up and stuff like that.
Kosho, doesn't your arse get sore sitting on that fucking fence, man?
Say what?
Doesn't your ass get sore sitting on that fence?
I'm not on the fence, man. What are you talking about?
Where are you? Which side are you again? Sorry.
I believe I'm an earther, dude. I believe in the earth.
Are you a glober or are you a fucking flat earther or a concaver? What are you?
I believe the earth is obviously convex. It's a spherical shape.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
So let's see now.
I don't think you guys are wrong or stupid or it's wrong. Change your opinion or something like that. Like I said, if you guys all change your opinion, then this community would be dissolved, right? And then there would be nothing left.
If you
opinion,
how do you have an not an opinion, bro?
You have to speak slower than that.
Sorry, it's not an opinion.
Oh, okay. Well, one of us is wrong. It's either me or you.
Probably
one of us. How old am I? 34 and a quarter.
That's what I said, yeah.
I didn't hear you say that, but anyway.
I've never actually heard anyone state their age by saying a quarter. I've heard some people say like 34 and a half or something.
34 and a
but
quarter. What are
I've
you,
never heard
6?
anyone say that. That's interesting.
Doesn't
Okay.
speak Irish.
You gotta be act.
He doesn't speak Irish.
I'm sorry, I'll slow down. What are you, 6, Kosho? I'm 34 and a quarter.
How can I be 6 if I just told you my age?
But you got the mind of a 6-year-old.
Yeah, really. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Anyways,
I'm just kidding, bro.
it's all right, dude. But at the end of the day, I'm wrong about a lot of things. I think that you guys are wrong about this specific thing, but who knows? I could be wrong. I'm probably not wrong though. I mean, I would bet my life I wasn't wrong about this, but
I would do the exact same thing. I would bet my life that there is no evidence of curvature. I've tried it. I mean, I actually have. I've lost friends, and my family doesn't respect me as much anymore because of it. So
well, that's sad to hear, but I know that's common in this community, but not only for flat earthers, I suppose, because there's probably some detriment that Glovers and myself have done based on this community. But regardless, I just prepare that. This isn't worth that. If that makes any sense. Like flat Earth or globe, I would prepare those things. This is like my greatest vice being part of this community. This is my greatest, and I do drugs. I do drugs. I drink. I pour. Not anymore, but I do very bad things sometimes, and this is the worst of the things that I do. Isn't it crazy?
Okay, well, I've done drugs too. I mean, hopefully you're not doing any like hardcore drugs, but if you do, and I am going to be very careful when I say this because I know that this is on Discord and the moderators are not going to appreciate it very much, but I'll at least say this: don't do hardcore drugs. I've done those, and I haven't done a drug in over a decade, but the ones that can help wake you up a little bit more are like, let's just say, mushrooms. When it helps to open your third eye a little bit, where you can see the world beyond what it currently is.
I got a lot of friends, and some of those friends do hard drugs. And from what I know, it's the ones that wake you up and keep you awake are kind of the worst ones. But I could be wrong about that. There's also ones that put you to sleep that are pretty bad too. So I don't know. But that's the drugs.
So before we get back to the earth, I would just like to say sugar is the worst drug. Stop doing that.
That's what's up, baby. Hey, I was going to ask you, dude, because I forget, you used to be in a certain state where they legalized certain drugs recently, and so it's kudos to you, sir. But,
wait, you're asking me?
No, BB. I call him BB. I guess it goes by a different name now, but I still call Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner.
He's talking about me.
What?
I just call him. I don't know if you appreciate that or not, but it's so I remember him now. So
Caitlyn and Bruce Jenner? I'm sure he appreciates that.
Yeah, I have a friend called John Roberts, and he he used to change. He's like, "Oh, I'm fluffy now. Just call me Johnny." And all this stuff. But I call him John Roberts. That's how when I met him. I always just call him John Roberts.
Hey, Kosho. So, am I pronouncing your handle? Is it Kosho?
Kosho's.
Okay. Yeah. Would you mind saying what state you're currently in right now?
Yeah, I'm in Texas.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I've been to Texas. I got family that lives there.
State of confusion.
I was going to say that first, actually.
Yeah, I was stationed in Wichita Falls, Texas, and yeah, there's some interesting things. I mean, is it super hot out there? Because I can still I think we can all hear your fan in the background.
Yeah, let me turn it down. But yes, it is very hot. I'm in the garage. I'm supposed to be cleaning the garage. I've been chatting with you assholes. I'm going to get in trouble for that.
Oh, thank you very much for doing
that. Yeah.
Instead of saying gentlemen, we have to be assholes.
I'm an asshole.
Well, you know what they say about assholes and opinions? Everybody has one.
That's right. A lot of people get offended by that, but it's one of my favorite things.
Oh, come on. We were both in the Navy. We got fucking thick skin. I mean, the whole thing, curse like a sailor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I have to
I'm
bite
an
my tongue a
asshole.
lot when it comes to cursing. So
Yeah, it was actually hard for me. When I went back to visit my parents, it was hard for me to turn it off. I totally forgot. But
oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's tough.
yeah, I still have cursing all this. I still do it. It doesn't matter though. Yeah, that's one thing in this community. Like some people are real thin-skinned, but even like race-wise, like racist and stuff like that. Like when I was in the Navy, being racist, it wasn't like an offensive thing. It was everybody picks on everybody for everything. You know what I mean? So,
I think it
and it's
hasn't been
a
a
term of
thing.
endearment.
Yeah, it hasn't been a thing for like 30 years, and suddenly now it's a thing. It's just brought back up. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, there's people in America, right? They're not the same color. The black people, Asian people. They're going to earn far more money than me. They're going to live a better life than me forever, and forever.
Yeah.
I don't understand why suddenly, after 30 years or 40 years of nobody saying anything, suddenly they're going to bring everything back up again. It was doing fine. Just leave it alone. Everything was going good. Nobody cared what the fucking color of your skin was. If you were a good athlete, if you could throw a ball, if you could run the football, the gridiron, you're doing well. Suddenly, it matters to everybody what color your skin is because they're talking about it. Like what was it Morgan Freeman that says, "Stop talking about it."
Yeah, as soon as you ignored it, it goes away.
Yeah.
Speaking about that, when you were just saying it was 30 years, I think it was a little bit, maybe 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
back to the old, Richard Pryor, the black comedian with like the semi-afro, the actor guy. Go back and watch some of his stand-up comedy. Oh yeah, go back and watch some of his stand-up comedy, or George Carlin. Go back and watch some of his stuff. Like today, dude, they would have lawsuits against them now and death threats. But back then, oh man, they had standing ovations. And it didn't matter what color your skin was. They were just having a fun time because people understood it didn't matter. It was comedy. But nowadays, it's like, no, you have to believe what we believe, and comedy has to be censored.
They're bringing shit up that didn't matter, that nobody actually cared about. We were moving on. The world was moving on. They brought it up. Now suddenly it's a fucking issue, and justice warriors or whoever have to say things about it. It's absolute balls. Nobody cared 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Now it's an issue because they're all talking about it. They're all bringing it up. I mean, my favorite actor is Denzel Washington. My favorite singer is Bob Marley, or Tracy Chapman. She's close second.
Interesting. Yeah, my grandfather, his favorite singer was, what's the guy, the black guy that was in the Rat Pack? Sammy Davis Jr. And my grandpa would actually, he found out where he was going on tour. I'm Irish. And my grandpa is fucking hardcore Irish. And hardcore Irish farmer, World War II vet kind of guy. But he loved Sammy Davis Jr. He would just go around every single concert. And they would, these different black singers and presenters. It was fucking awesome. It wasn't like racial at all. It was just because they were really, really good at what they do. And it's true. Like Bob Marley, legend. Aretha Franklin, legend. But then there's a lot of other people in different nationalities that also have done very, very good. But it didn't matter. It was just about, can you do a good job? Yes. Like affirmative action. Who gives a fuck? Like, do you do a good job or not? You're hired, or you're not going to get hired.
I think you're right. I think the 80s, 90s, 2000s, nobody gave a shit. 210, nobody gave a shit. Now suddenly,
people did give a shit, man. What are you talking about? First of all, sorry, P-Mac. I'm not going to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Okay. No. You all right? Listen, you go right ahead. You tell me what you think.
Okay. I think people always gave a fuck. People were a lot more racist, actually. People were less caring if people were racist because they were also racist. That's not the thing. I think what's the difference is that there's people like when it comes to comedy, there's people. If you say something and it's funny, and it's actually funny and it's true, there's a way to say it and express it, and it's going to come through as even if you're saying it to a person and it applies to them, they're gonna laugh and they're gonna agree with you. They're gonna. So the same was true in the past too. The difference is how you say it and what you're saying. There's people who say offensive things and you can tell that they mean it in their heart. You know what I mean? So that's just different than the comedy. It's also not funny sometimes. So it depends on what's being said and how they say it. Like most
Okay, well,
comedians understand that.
let me bring this up then.
I don't
Okay,
think it's
so you
justified.
being Jewish, having a Jewish upbringing, and but you're not
I'm
a
black and
practicing Jew,
Jewish.
right?
Black and Jew.
Dude,
Just like Sammy Davis
what?
Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. is also black and Jewish, but he converted.
What the? Okay, well, I wasn't trying to bring that up, but
Yeah, well.
Mel Brooks, right? Mel Brooks is he still alive? I'm not sure, but
He is, yeah.
if he's not, then he's not.
Oh, he's still with us, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey guys,
Awesome.
you want to know what my favorite Mel Brooks moment was? Because in the movie The Producers, the '70s version, it took me a while to realize that he's a Jewish actor, Mel Brooks. All right, he's a comedian, and for a very short period of time, he served as a GI on the American side in World War II, and he's Jewish. All right, which is why I thought it was so funny that in that movie, The Producers, he's on stage dressed as a Nazi, and he says the line. Don't be a stupid, be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party.
Well, he also wrote that play and produced it, but
I've never,
yeah, right.
I've never seen that, but I mean, he
Producers,
did the movie
classic.
Blazing Saddles. I mean, that kind of says enough about it. I mean,
yeah, that's another example of a good movie that like it shows you like there's a lot of racist things that it addresses, but in a comedic way. So it's like you're gonna laugh at all the racial type of stuff.
Okay, is there a difference between racist and racial?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, these words honestly, race I think is irrelevant, but we use it because so we don't mean we use it, but I think
It's an easy out
racial,
for someone to say racist. It's just an easy out.
People can use it as an easy out, but some people are generally racist. So I mean, it goes both ways. But
well, what does it mean then? In your opinion, what does it mean?
A racist is somebody who's using it in a negative connotation or derogatory connotation, or they're using your race in a negative way, or they're treating you differently because of your race. But like I said, race to me is it's almost a relevant term. Like when people say black people, you could be referring to lots of different types of people, or white person, even more types of people. So it's weird to group all white people in together when you could be white and fucking Russian or white.
Yeah, I mean there are people
African.
from India that have darker skin than a lot of people from Africa.
Yeah,
and then you can go down. And then you can go down to Haiti, and there's people that have extremely dark skin down there. And if they were to come to the U.S., they're like, "Oh, are you African American?" They're gonna be like, "Fuck off! No, I'm Haitian."
Yeah, right. This person in the world is African American. Elon Musk is African American. But yeah, so these words, these terms,
yeah, technically,
like race and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like racist, but you know what I mean. Like some people are actually they have a disdain towards people just because of their race, or treat people differently or negatively because of their race. I'd say it's a negative connotation, based on race.
Do you know that thing that findyourheritage.com and all that shit there? It tells you where you came from.
Yeah, 23.
Oh yeah,
that too.
Yeah, I found out I'm 5% Arab and 95% retard.
Isn't that a false dichotomy?
You work it out.
I know a lot of Arabs who are 100% retards.
That's racist.
Oh, and by the way,
they're not retards because they're Arab. Though.
I've heard a little bit of a conspiracy about this. I don't know how much I can back it up, but I've heard enough evidence to the point where I can at least say it out loud that the 23andMe and the heritage.com or whatever, or ancestry.com, that they're collecting our DNA and our saliva, and they're just using it for like statistics and data. They're not actually doing it for like actual giving. Because I've heard about people that they would they would like swab the inside of their dog's mouth, and they would send it in, and they would say that like you're part like Native American and like part like
Half
something
banana.
else. And it's like half banana. Yeah.
Three quarters pineapple.
There's a reason for that though. Like people send in lizard DNA and it says they're whatever human, this and that. That's because they're assuming you're human. So yeah, they can't. They're not doing it. So the Human Genome Project, which was done in like 2000 or something, and happens to this day, they collected a bunch of DNA with a bunch of different people around the world, and they used this collection of DNA. Even as people continued to submit DNA, they used this to construct this ancestry, identity and stuff like that. So when people send in stuff from animals and they say it's from a human, they're already assuming it's a human, and they're just looking for the markers that are identical with other human markers, and they're using that to identify them. But if they were actually not if they weren't doing it in that context, and they were just they got DNA and they're trying to see what animal it is, they would probably come up with a more accurate description of animal.
But if you swap.
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.